A common interface debate is, should you buy the Apollo Twin or should you buy an Apogee Duet? Now, I've owned so many different Apogee devices, from the Duet to the Elements to the Quartet, Symphony, IO Mark II, SE, and then I've owned all of the Apollo stuff. I mean, I've had UAD satellites for Windows and for Mac. I've had their Twin, Duo, Quad, their Apollo X8, X16. I've been down both roads, and while I'm going to mainly focus on the Apogee Duet and the Apollo Twin in this video, I'm going to just discuss the overall ecosystems of those companies a little bit in this video too. Okay, so first and foremost, the answer lies purely in what you're trying to do. And I hate to make it a conditional answer. I usually like to go to videos and just like get the answer. I want to know which one's better. Tell me which one's better. If you know which one's better, just tell me. Well, honestly, there are only a few things that the Apogee Duet is better for than the Apollo. And if you record your own music, if you do your own vocal recording and you're recording your own voice, okay, it might be easier for you, based on my experience, to get something that you love, that really presents your vocal in a special and very musical way, using the converters inside of an Apogee Duet. I think they're better, more musical. All right. Are they better for production and for mixing? No. But if you record yourself and you make your own music, it definitely is something you should be considering. On the flip side, the Apollo is pretty good as far as conversion goes. It's definitely good. It is more clinical. It is less wide or less spread as the Apogee Duet is, in my opinion. It is a little more like narrow sounding, but it is more detailed. That said, the converters do lack a little bit in the musicality sense, in the mojo space, in getting something that just like has that thing. You'll find yourself mixing more and learning to mix better when you record through an Apollo, because, especially the Twin, specifically the Twin, because the converters aren't crazy good. They just aren't that musical. They're more sterile. Now, if you're somebody who's looking to start a studio, if you're somebody who records other artists, somebody who's trying to build a business, charge people to record, mix and master, do all that kind of stuff, I absolutely think that you have no choice but to get an Apollo Twin. The Apollo Twin is a bells and whistles device. It has also gone down significantly in price from a few years ago. And I don't know if not enough people are talking about that, to be honest with you. We should really be questioning why that's happening, but we'll talk about that in another video. The Apollo Twin you can get for $1,000. If you get it used, you can get it for less. And the Twin comes with a talkback, a low-pass filter, a pad. You've got really good and usable controls for your headphone monitoring and for your monitors monitoring. You've got a UAD console, onboard DSP, plugins, all these utilities that come with it, all for just that set price, and converters that are really good, relatively speaking, in the price range. There isn't really an interface that you can that's better than that for the case use of starting a small studio, learning to engineer better, producing other artists, recording other artists. But something you may find is that the Apogee Duet will make your voice sound better if you record yourself, if you record your own guitars, your own vocals, if you make your own music. There is just some magic about the Apogee stuff in general. Okay, it's not just a duet thing. It is Apogee in general. And it always has baffled me because it doesn't, on paper, it doesn't sound better than the other stuff. And that's the weird part. It's like, some people might say it isn't detailed enough, or it's too dark, or it's too this, or too that. But whatever it is that it is musical as hell. It is musical as hell. It's so good. And that, to me, is something that isn't as easily facilitatable with the Apollo interface. There's more of a learning curve. Once you learn it, you can get a really good sound out of it. But it isn't as easy as plug and play. Like if you're just a songwriter, if you're just a producer, you're just somebody who records themselves, that's a different story. And I think that you might benefit if you're using an Apogee, if you're only limited to digital preamps. But if you're not somebody who's limited to only digital preamps, if you have analog preamps as well, neither of these are going to be an option for you. You have to look for an interface that can bypass the preamps inside of the unit. You cannot bypass the preamps on the Apollo, and you cannot bypass the preamps at all on the Apogee Duet 3 or 2. for that matter. And I use the 2 extensively. I haven't used the 3 extensively, even though it sounds pretty similar to me, just a little bit more detail. Just know that you're going to have to make an upgrade in the future if you are planning on getting outboard gear. It's just what I recommend. You're not going to go pay $2,000 for a preamp just to plug it into something that's going to just take away what it's doing, right? So that's kind of my verdict when it comes to the Apogee Duet versus the Apollo Twin. I think that the Twin is more catered towards studio desires than the Apogee Duet. But even though in like almost every way, the Apollo Twin is a better interface, it's a better device, the Apogee devices just do something. And I hate that I don't know what that is. I hate that I don't know what it is that they do in their devices, what they do in that circuitry that gets that magic when you record through them. I just don't get it. I don't know what it is, but I like it. I think it's really good. And it's hard for me to overlook that. Because at the end of the day, features are all cool and stuff, but what are we in this to do? We're in this to make music and demonstrate our taste as creative people to the highest and best of our abilities. And if something is more inspiring, if something sounds better, then maybe it's because it's the right choice and it's the better choice for us. So in this case, of course, try and demo both units. It's going to be important for you to do that. But something else that can definitely give you a bit of an idea of the comparison of flavor is a Deron Terrell video where he's demonstrating the difference between the Apollo unit and how it sounds against the Symphony unit that he has. Yes, it's not the Twin versus the Duet, but imagine that playback just with less quality. All right, so less resolution, kind of, less detail, but similar flavor. That would be the difference you find between these interfaces. I'm going to put a link to his video below for you guys to click on it. Check it out. He's also a really dope YouTuber, somebody who has a lot of good knowledge as well. His mixes are pretty good, and he's a good guy. He's a pretty trustworthy YouTuber as far as I can tell. So hope this clears it up when it comes to this debate, and I look forward to seeing you guys soon. Ciao.